part of your soul. What was meant to break you, what was designed to crush you, is the very thing that heaven has transformed into your unstoppable rise. Every weapon that was crafted against you, every whisper that was intended to wound you, every storm that was sent to drown you, it all became the soil of your strength. You were never meant to collapse under the weight. You were meant to rise above it, carrying fire in your eyes and divine power in your steps. That is why they tried so hard to destroy you. That is why the pressure was unrelenting. Because they could see before you could that you were not ordinary. They could sense the mark of heaven on you, and it terrified them. They wanted to silence you, but the silence only became your training ground. They wanted to chain you, but the chains became the proof that no prison could hold what God already freed. Chosen one, you walked through nights where your soul trembled, through valleys where shadows whispered that it was over. Yet every time, something unexplainable rose inside of you, a strength you did not borrow from the world, a courage you did not manufacture yourself. It was planted in you before you were born. It was the seal of destiny that no hand could erase. You felt broken, yes, but you were never destroyed. You felt rejected, yes, but you were always preserved. The fire came, but it only burned away what could not stay. And now what remains is unshakable, unmovable, unstoppable. What you endured was not random. It was not coincidence. It was orchestration from the throne of heaven. Every betrayal, every lie, every tear, they were chapters in your rising. They were training for your hands, sharpening for your mind, expansion for your spirit. You thought it was punishment, but it was preparation. You thought it was abandonment, but it was alignment. The very things that made you cry out to God in the midnight hours are the very things He is using to elevate you before the eyes of those who doubted you. Chosen one, your story is not about being broken. Your story is about being rebuilt stronger than anything they could imagine. Do you realize that the rejection you faced was the shield that kept you away from destruction? Do you understand that the loneliness you endured was the cocoon that birthed transformation? Do you see now that the tears you shed were the rivers that watered your harvest? You are not the victim of what they did. You are the evidence that God turns every weapon into wonder, every curse into crown, every plan of darkness into prophecy fulfilled. Chosen one, there is a mystery about your life that many cannot comprehend. They saw you fall, but they never understood why you kept rising. They witnessed your tears, but they could not explain why your joy kept returning like the sunrise. They counted you out, and yet, time and time again, destiny counted you back in. That is because your life was never written by human hands. It was carved in the eternal before you ever took your first breath. Heaven wrote resilience into your DNA. Heaven wrote victory into your veins. You were not made to be ordinary, and that has always been your difference. That difference provoked attacks. That difference made you a target. But chosen one, that same difference is what has preserved you and lifted you higher than your enemies ever dreamed. They expected you to stay broken. They expected you to drown in sorrow, to surrender under pressure. But instead, you found an inner altar that only burned brighter the more storms tried to suffocate it. You became a living contradiction, fragile yet unbreakable, silent yet thunderous, rejected yet exalted. Every season of your life was proving to you and to the world that you carry an indestructible essence. They thought they were throwing stones to kill you, but those stones built the foundation of your fortress. They thought they were tearing you apart, but they were actually uncovering the immortal spirit within you. Chosen one, do you understand now why so many could not stay in your life? It was not weakness, it was divine separation. God was pruning, not punishing. He was removing the hands that could not carry your destiny. He was silencing the voices that could not handle your anointing. And yes, it hurt. Yes, it felt like betrayal. But heaven was always ahead of you, choosing your circle with surgical precision, ensuring that nothing and no one could derail what was written for you. The emptiness you felt was actually protection. The loneliness you walked through was actually preservation. And the silence you endured was the voice of God reshaping your soul into something unshakable. You must see this clearly now. What was meant to break you has become your badge of honor. Those scars are not symbols of defeat. They are living evidence that you endured the fire and came out shining brighter than gold. Every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every heartbreak, you carried it like a cross. But the cross did not bury you. The cross revealed the resurrection power living inside of you. That is why they cannot figure you out. That is why they whisper that you must be different. Because they know, deep down, that no human could carry what you carried and still remain standing. They sense the divine around you, and it shakes them. Chosen one, heaven is declaring that your unstoppable season has arrived. The years of survival have given birth to the years of revival. The days of crying in the shadows are about to turn into nights of dancing in the light. You were not abandoned in the darkness. You were planted there, and now the world will watch as you bloom in unstoppable glory. God did not forget you. He was preparing you. And now, those who mocked your preparation will not be able to deny your elevation. The ones who laughed at your silence will not be able to resist your sound. The ones who tried to bury your fire will be blinded by your flame. You are unstoppable, not because of what you gained, but because of what you lost and survived. You are unstoppable, not because life was easy, but because every difficulty became your teacher. You are unstoppable, not because enemies applauded you, but because enemies failed to stop you. Every single attempt against your soul became a stepping stone for your spirit. Every single trap became a testimony. And now, even the forces of hell know your name. Not because you sought recognition, but because your endurance became a war cry that echoed in realms unseen. Hell remembers the nights it tried to destroy you, and heaven remembers the nights you kept standing. That is why the verdict is sealed. Unstoppable. That is who you are. That is why they stare at you in disbelief. That is why they whisper your name with confusion. Because what was meant to make you crumble made you glow. What was meant to bury you became the soil of your resurrection. They threw you into pits, but you discovered wings. They wrote your ending, but God rewrote your beginning. And now, you walk carrying something they cannot calculate, a presence they cannot explain, a victory they cannot erase. You are not unstoppable because you avoided pain. You are unstoppable because you survived it. You are unstoppable because you transmuted pain into power, rejection into revelation, heartbreak into holy fire. Listen carefully, chosen one. What is coming will shock even you. The very places where you were despised will become the arenas of your honor. The very voices that mocked you will be silenced by the sound of your breakthrough. The very ground where you cried will become the stage where you rise. For God Himself is about to use your story as a weapon against the darkness. Heaven is declaring over you, unstoppable. Hell trembles because of that word. Demons scatter because of that seal. Enemies retreat because of that mantle. You carry the unstoppable fire of the Almighty, and nothing fashioned against you will ever prosper. Nothing. Chosen one, there were nights when you thought the silence of God was abandonment. There were mornings when you wondered if your prayers evaporated into the air, unheard and unanswered. But what you did not see was the orchestration behind the veil. Heaven was not ignoring you. It was arranging things that your eyes could not yet perceive. The waiting was never wasted. The tears were never in vain. Every cry became a seed in the soil of eternity, and now those seeds are breaking forth with unstoppable harvest. You thought you were overlooked, but you were being prepared. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being hidden. And chosen one, what is hidden is only hidden for protection until the appointed time of revelation. They believed your silence meant weakness. They thought your isolation meant defeat. But in the silence, you discovered your real voice, and in the isolation, you found your real power. That is why your enemies cannot calculate your strength. They are used to measuring by numbers, by applause, by status. But you were never built on those things. You were built on faith, on endurance, on divine fire. And those cannot be measured by human standards. You are a paradox to them, a storm in stillness, a flame in silence, a crown in ashes. That is why they cannot touch you. That is why they cannot stop you. Chosen one, there is something sacred about how you carry your pain. You never used it to destroy others. You never allowed it to harden your heart into cruelty. You turned pain into prayer. You turned wounds into wisdom. You turned loss into loyalty to heaven. That is what makes you unstoppable. Not that you avoided the storm, but that you transformed in the storm. You became refined like gold, and no fire could consume what God preserved. You became sharpened like a sword, and no hand could dull the edge heaven gave you. You became rooted like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, and no drought could wither your destiny. The truth is, chosen one, if they could have broken you, they would have. If they could have silenced you, you would already be gone. If the darkness could have destroyed you, you would not be standing here right now. The fact that you are still breathing, still rising, still glowing is the proof that you are marked by something greater. Hell already tried, and it failed. Enemies already plotted, and they fell into their own traps. Storms already raged, and you walked out drenched in anointing instead of defeat. What more evidence do you need that you are unstoppable? You are living proof that what was meant to kill you has only made you a weapon in the hand of God. Chosen one, let me declare this without hesitation. Your breakthrough will not be quiet. It will not be small. It will not be hidden. It will be undeniable, unshakable, unstoppable. The same mouths that cursed you will speak your blessing. The same eyes that mocked you will witness your rise. The same hands that tried to bind you will tremble as they see your freedom. Because God is not just delivering you privately, He is exalting you publicly. The crown will not be invisible. The victory will not be secret. It will be as clear as the sun, as undeniable as the dawn, as unstoppable as the fire that has burned in you all along. What was meant to break you is now the very reason you will be celebrated. What was meant to silence you is now the reason your voice carries thunder. What was meant to bury you is now the reason you are rooted so deeply in destiny. Chosen one, you are unstoppable, not just for yourself, but for those who are watching you, those who are drawing strength from your survival. Your life is a message, a testimony, a prophecy fulfilled. Heaven is using you as proof that nothing can break what God has blessed. Nothing can end what God has ordained. Nothing can silence what God has chosen. And because you are chosen, you are unstoppable. Chosen one, remember the times when everything seemed stacked against you. Remember when the weight was so heavy you could hardly breathe. When betrayal cut so deep you wondered if you would ever recover. When loneliness wrapped itself around your soul like chains. Remember those days, because they are the testimony of your rise. They are the proof that no darkness can hold a child of light. They are the reminder that you did not collapse when everything in the natural said you should. You bent, yes, but you did not break. You cried, yes, but you did not quit. You stumbled, yes, but you did not stay down. And that resilience is the very thing that makes you unstoppable now. They whispered lies about you, chosen one. They tried to damage your name, to destroy your reputation, to make others doubt your worth. But even lies have an expiration date. Even deception collapses under the weight of truth. And now, truth is shining through your story. Those who believed the lies will see with their own eyes the evidence of God's hand on your life. They will realize that no rumor, no slander, no false word could undo the mark of heaven. What was meant to ruin you only raised you. What was meant to erase you only engraved you deeper in the story of destiny. Chosen one, you did not survive because you were stronger than others. You survived because you were covered. You survived because you were sealed. You survived because the breath of the Almighty sustained you when your own strength was gone. And now, you walk with a fire that cannot be explained. That fire is not arrogance, it is assurance. That glow is not pride, it is presence. That authority is not man-made, it is God-ordained. That is why the demons cannot touch you. That is why enemies cannot stop you. Because your unstoppable nature is not rooted in you, it is rooted in Him who chose you. Think about it. Chosen one. Every time they expected you to collapse, you came back stronger. Every time they expected you to lose, you came back wiser. Every time they expected you to fade, you came back brighter. You are the evidence of divine reversal, the proof that God uses the weak to shame the strong, the lowly to confound the proud, the rejected to inherit the crown. You embody the mystery of grace, how something so fragile could carry something so eternal, how someone so underestimated could carry something so unstoppable. And now the tables are turning. Those who once celebrated your pain will now watch your elevation. Those who once mocked your prayers will now witness your answers. Those who once thought your story was finished will see God write chapters they cannot erase. This is not just recovery, chosen one. This is restitution. This is not just survival. This is unstoppable ascension. Heaven is not giving you back what you lost. It is multiplying it, magnifying it, amplifying it. What was meant to break you is about to make you so unstoppable that even your enemies will have no choice but to testify. Chosen one, your destiny is roaring. The sound of breakthrough is echoing even now. You may not see the full picture yet, but the vibrations are shaking the atmosphere. You feel it in your spirit. You know something is shifting. That is the sound of chains snapping. That is the sound of doors opening. That is the sound of enemies retreating. And nothing will stop it. No power of hell, no scheme of man, no whisper of darkness can silence what God has already decreed. The decree is final, unstoppable. You are not just walking into victory. You are walking as victory itself. And the world will see it. Chosen one, every scar you carry tells a story, not of defeat, but of defiance. Not of failure, but of faith. Those scars are holy, for they testify that you stood when others fell, that you endured when others surrendered, that you kept moving when others turned back. You did not escape the storm without damage, but the damage became decoration. The cracks in your soul became the places where heaven's light shines brightest. What others called weakness, God turned into a weapon. What others thought was shame, God transformed into a shield. That is why you glow differently. That is why your presence cannot be ignored. They underestimated you, chosen one. They thought you were fragile, but you were forged. They thought you were finished, but you were just beginning. They thought your pain would silence you, but it gave you a prophetic voice, that cuts through illusions. And now, every word you speak carries weight, not because of eloquence, but because of experience, not because of charm, but because of scars. You speak as one who has walked through fire and did not burn, as one who has walked through waters and did not drown, as one who has walked through death itself and still carries life. That authenticity is unstoppable, and that authenticity is your crown. Chosen one, destiny has been watching you. Every silent decision, every hidden sacrifice, every quiet prayer, it has all been recorded in the archives of eternity. And now, the reward is at your door. The season of invisibility is closing. The era of unstoppable manifestation is here. Those who once ignored you will now be unable to look away. Those who once dismissed you will now have to acknowledge you, not because you seek their validation, but because God is showcasing His glory through your life. Your rise is not for applause, it is for testimony. Your breakthrough is not for ego, it is for evidence. Heaven is proving a point through you. No chosen one can be broken beyond redemption. No chosen one can be silenced beyond restoration. No chosen one can be stopped before completion. And listen carefully, chosen one. What is coming is greater than you imagine. Wealth that you did not chase will chase you. Opportunities you did not expect will appear before you. Connections you never dreamed of will call your name. Because when God declares unstoppable, even the gates of heaven open in your favor. The resources of earth align with the decrees of heaven. The natural bends to the supernatural, and everything you thought was delayed will suddenly arrive in abundance. What was meant to break you has become the womb of unstoppable blessing. Yes, chosen one, even your enemies will marvel. They will ask, how did you survive? They will wonder, how did you rise so high after falling so low? And they will not find answers, because the truth cannot be explained in human terms. It can only be described in one word: anointed. You were anointed to withstand, anointed to overcome, anointed to rise. And that anointing cannot be revoked, cannot be erased, cannot be destroyed. That is why you are unstoppable. That is why the world will have no choice but to see the mark of God upon you. So walk boldly, chosen one. Lift your head, straighten your shoulders. Do not let the shadows intimidate you, for you have already walked through darkness and discovered the light within. Do not let the storms shake you, for you have already proven that you can stand in winds that would have destroyed others. Do not let the whispers distract you, for their words have already failed 1,000 times before. You are unstoppable, and nothing in this life or the next will change that decree. Heaven has spoken, and the verdict is eternal. Unstoppable. Chosen one, think back to the nights when fear wrapped itself around your heart like chains. Nights when anxiety screamed louder than hope, when doubt tried to convince you that you were finished. Those were the nights when unseen battles raged over your destiny. Hell sent its armies to suffocate your light, to strangle your faith, to bury your voice. Yet here you are, still breathing, still rising, still unstoppable. That is not coincidence, that is covenant. That is not chance, that is choice, heaven's choice. You were preserved because your life is not just your own. Your survival is the prophecy of many. Your victory is the inspiration of nations. Chosen one, you carry weight you do not even realize. That is why the attacks were heavier for you. That is why betrayal cut deeper, why loneliness lasted longer, why pain seemed sharper. Because the enemy saw what you did not yet see. He saw the fire waiting to erupt inside you. He saw the unstoppable destiny written on your spirit. He saw the glory you would carry, and he panicked. He tried to kill the seed before it could sprout, but chosen one, what he forgot is that you are rooted in eternity, and nothing planted by God can ever be uprooted. Every attack against you only watered your resilience. Every insult only fertilized your strength. Every closed door only redirected you to a higher path. And now the same people who once celebrated your downfall will watch in silence as you ascend. They cannot deny it. They cannot stop it. They cannot erase it. For your rise is not built on human approval but on divine appointment. You were not lifted by their applause, so you cannot be lowered by their rejection. You were not crowned by their hands, so you cannot be dethroned by their opinions. You are unstoppable because your foundation is eternal. Chosen one, you have carried sorrow like a cloak, but soon joy will clothe you like a crown. You have carried loneliness like a burden, but soon connection will surround you like rivers. You have carried wounds like hidden treasures, but soon healing will shine through you like diamonds. Every season of pain has been flipped into purpose. Every valley has become a stepping stone. Every broken piece has been forged into a weapon, and now you carry an arsenal that no enemy expected. A weapon forged from endurance, a fire forged from rejection, a voice forged from silence. This is why you terrify them, chosen one. This is why they cannot look at you without trembling, because you are not just surviving, you are unstoppable. And hear this, the unstoppable does not chase, it attracts. The unstoppable does not beg, it commands. The unstoppable does not shrink, it expands. And that is your portion. Doors will open not because you knocked the loudest, but because destiny demanded it. Opportunities will appear not because you sought them, but because heaven prepared them. Blessings will overflow not because you earned them, but because you endured long enough to inherit them. What was meant to break you has become the key that unlocked realms you never imagined. What was meant to silence you has become the microphone that amplifies your story. What was meant to bury you has become the soil that pushes you into unstoppable growth. So rise, chosen one. Rise without fear. Rise without apology. Rise without hesitation. For the world needs what you carry. Heaven is backing you. Angels are surrounding you. The Almighty has declared over your life, unstoppable. And no demon, no curse, no human hand can reverse what has been spoken. Your life is proof of this truth. What was meant to break you is about to make you unstoppable. Chosen one, there were moments when you thought you were finished. The betrayals piled high, the weight of loneliness pressed hard, the storms howled around you with relentless fury. But what you did not see was that every single moment was shaping you, chiseling you, refining you into a vessel unshakable by the world. Diamonds are not born in comfort, but in pressure. Warriors are not forged in peace, but in battle. And you, chosen one, are both diamond and warrior. That is why you shine when others fade. That is why you stand when others fall. That is why you remain unstoppable when others surrender. They tried to bury you under shame. They tried to smother you under lies. They tried to drown you in despair. But chosen one, you are like fire. You cannot be drowned, you cannot be smothered, you cannot be buried. Fire consumes what tries to consume it. Fire spreads where it is least expected. And that fire is inside you. They thought rejection would silence you, but rejection became your roar. They thought heartbreak would cripple you, but heartbreak became your wings. They thought loss would end you, but loss became your doorway to levels they never dreamed you would touch. Chosen one, you must understand the authority you carry now. Authority that was born in pain, but established in perseverance. Authority that was tested by storms, but confirmed by survival. Authority that no man gave you, so no man can take from you. This is why the atmosphere shifts when you walk into the room. This is why people feel unsettled without knowing why when you are near. It is not intimidation, it is illumination. It is the unstoppable glow of divine presence resting on you. And now, the prophecy over your life is maturing. What you endured in silence will be shouted in victory. What you carried in darkness will blaze in light. What you whispered in secret will echo across nations. The enemy is trembling because he realizes he failed. He threw everything he had at you, and you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still rising. You are still chosen. That is the greatest humiliation of darkness, that all its effort only made you stronger, sharper, brighter, and unstoppable. Chosen one, step forward boldly now. The gates that were closed are opening. The chains that held you are breaking. The storms that raged against you are calming. You are stepping into a season where what once worked against you will now work for you. The very things that pushed you down are now pushing you up. The very voices that cursed you are now fueling your blessing. The very traps that were meant to ensnare you are now platforms for your testimony. This is the reversal of heaven, and it is unstoppable. So let the world watch. Let your enemies witness. Let every doubtful voice fall silent. For what God is about to do through you cannot be hidden. The crown will not be denied. The fire will not be extinguished. The victory will not be delayed. Chosen one, what was meant to break you is about to make you unstoppable. And nothing, no power of hell, no scheme of man, no shadow of fear, can change that truth. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are unstoppable. Chosen one, you have walked through deserts that left your lips dry and your heart faint. Yet somehow rivers burst forth within you. You have walked through nights so long you thought the sun would never rise again, yet dawn always found you. You have carried crosses so heavy that others thought you would collapse, yet you kept moving, step by painful step, until the weight itself transformed into wings. What they thought would crush you has only carved strength into your soul. What they thought would erase you has only etched eternity into your spirit. You are not unstoppable because you avoided weakness. You are unstoppable because weakness became the doorway to divine power. Think of the times you stood alone, chosen one. The crowd had gone silent. The friends had vanished. The family had turned away. In those moments, you thought you had nothing left. But in truth, you discovered you had everything. Because you had God. And that was enough. That presence in your solitude was greater than armies. That whisper in your silence was louder than 1,000 shouts. That hand that sustained you was stronger than every weapon that rose against you. And now you know. You never stood alone. You never fought alone. You never cried alone. Heaven was with you. That is why you are unstoppable. Chosen one, your life is about to become a spectacle of reversal. Those who once mocked you will watch in silence. Those who once cursed you will bow their heads in shame. Those who once plotted your downfall will have no choice but to witness your elevation. And this elevation is not just for you. It is for the glory of the one who carried you through. Your life will shout of his power. Your story will echo his faithfulness. Your victory will demonstrate his justice. For what was meant to break you is about to become the stage where his unstoppable glory is revealed. Every tear is about to be redeemed. Every sleepless night is about to be rewarded. Every hidden prayer is about to be answered openly. And when it happens, chosen one, it will not be small. It will not be quiet. It will not be ordinary. It will be unstoppable. The blessing will overflow. The doors will swing wide. The celebration will erupt. And no power of hell will be able to interfere. You are about to see why you endured what you endured. Why you walked where you walked. Why you carried what you carried. It was not in vain. It was never wasted. It was always preparation for this moment. The moment where the unstoppable inside you becomes undeniable to the world. So rise now, chosen one. Rise like dawn breaking through the longest night. Rise like fire consuming the cold. Rise like a crown placed on the head of one who was once mocked. Rise, not timidly, but triumphantly. For this is your decree. Unstoppable. This is your inheritance. Unstoppable. This is your destiny. Unstoppable. And no hand, No word, no enemy can change what heaven has sealed. Chosen one, lift your voice, lift your head, lift your spirit. For what was meant to break you is about to make you unstoppable, and the world is about to witness it in full glory.